when I unparked it, I couldn't find the original one that had all of my documentation on it, because I'd gotten a little bit of the narrative done, and it had all the demographics that I got in the ED. But it was missing information that I had. It didn't have. There was a signature miss. My signature was missing. There was a signature missing from, I think, the receiving facility. There was information that was on there when I parked it, was not there when I unparked it. And that was the same with, there were vitals missing from all the other ones. But I remember I could not find the original one initially. So I recreated it off the run number. But then found the missing trip sheet that Sheila had printed off, and that had a different, I don't know if it had a different IN number or it had a different run number. I will say, in this incident, we were canceled when we got on scene because the call was in Kansas City, and then Kansas City told us to go ahead and take it. So dispatch then reassigned us the call. So there was also some mix-up on my part when I tried to recreate it because I couldn't find the original one on which run number we were using. I believe I went off the original one, and then dispatch had the transport off of the second one. I just remember trying to go in there and recreating it because I was looking up, when I went in there with Sheila, with what Sheila gave me, I was looking at that run number. Obviously that one didn't exist because I was charting under the original run number. So it got messy because now we have some charting on that run number, some charting on the other run number. And I didn't know which run number we were because I didn't, it's whatever was in the computer. I don't have a pager with that run number on it when I came back. So it created some confusion and some double documentation, and I created one and parked it and couldn't find it, so had to recreate it again. So yeah, I did see that there were multiple ones, and at that point, I didn't know if we could merge them all together or what could be done. So I created it off of what Sheila gave me. When I came back in to complete it, I took the computer and all an art form down to research, and got the signature I needed to, so we could close this chart or close this report out and instead of letting it linger.
So back to that. So we have one that's signed by Lisa, and then on 9/19. Here's the other one signed on 9/8.
And 8 was 8 the day?
The day of the call.
Oh, that was on Thursday, okay.
That one says Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, when I get the signature, I don't always look at their name or ask them their name. It looked like it said Sarah. The other one looked like Lisa. It could very well not be Sarah.
So, I'm sorry. I'll let you finish. Obviously, my question in a thorough investigation is, regardless of whether or not we confirm the person's name, how did we get an electronic signature on 9/19?
9/19 would have been the date that I went back and got this all completed and the signatures that I needed and finished the finalized PCR.
I didn't think you had a laptop on 9/19. I thought that was after the fact. You'd actually came in, got a laptop, and went to research earlier than that, on the 13th, I believe.
When was 9/19 the date that was on the day that it was transmitted, which would have been the 19th when I came in and got that finished.
According according to the supervisor, you didn't have a computer with you that day.
Yes, I did. When I came in to go to research? On the 13th?
Right.
Yes.
On the 13th you did.
Correct.
This was signed on the 19th.
I had a laptop that day. On the 19th, that's the day that they came in and finished the report. I mean, the date was probably missing, and I put in the 19th or something. I guess I'm trying to figure out what... I had a laptop when I came in to get those signatures. I came in the 19th and finished charting, because I asked Pete if he had because there was no supervisor here, and Pete had a laptop in his office. So he gave it to me so I could pull it up and finish this. Then I would imagine that's probably where the date, the 19th, got put in there. I didn't change it to the date that that she had signed. I could finish. It probably would make more sense from your standpoint if I just kind of finished and explained how we got, from Tyler calling me in to finish them to the 19th of getting transmitted. I mean, there's obviously lots of stuff that happened in between there was not me just sitting at home waiting 10 days to finish PCR. I don't like going on to another call without having PCR done. I certainly don't like leaving the shift without a PCR done. Going 10 days without one, I mean, that's not a practice I do at all.
Silence meaning you're done?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move past the signatures for receiving, and so let's talk a little bit about your waste signature. So looking at the waste signatures, again, we've got 5 or 6 different versions of your report. So looking at your waste signatures, it appears you've got documented a short squiggly line on one EPCR with no name associated with it, a short squiggly line associated with the witness named Heather, and then you have a waste form signed by Carrie Barra.
Who? Carrie? Okay, Carrie Barra would have been the actual form. Yes, that would have been the form that I had when I went in with the computer and everything and got that signed. So we had everything documented and on file, so we could close this out. This short the Heather and a who?
One doesn't have a name. It's I can show them to you, but one is a short squiggle and there's no name.
Right.
And then on a different EPCR, there's a short squiggle with a bump comes down, and that one was reportedly signed by Heather.
I think that's the one that I was trying to pull them up in the soup's office, and none of it. When I unparked them, like I said, there were vitals missing, there was narrative missing. There was information that I had put in there prior to originally parking it that did not upload, download, whatever, when I unparked it. I went through and looked at the one that I thought I had her sign.
So
And it populated with something, and I remember I said, told Tyler, I said, well, here it is. But then looking at it, I mean, it's whatever. What I saw was just it was a lot. I mean, there was no. It was not a signature. It wasn't even a half attempt at a signature. The signature that I got that evening from the receiving facility did not. I don't know if it didn't save or or got lost in translation along with the vitals and other things, but there was no signature on it, which is why I ended up going back to research with that wasting art form and got a physical signature on a hard copy, because there was documentation there that was missing from the original line. And nor do I understand how there are several different PCRs created under different IN numbers. That doesn't make sense to me. I think there was one under IN 1, like 169 or 189.
Where did that signature come from? I can show it to you. I gotta find it because there's multiple.
Yeah, that's the one that Tyler showed me, and that's not. I mean, that's not even. Nobody would believe that's even a signature, so I don't.
So do we know where did the mark come from?
I couldn't tell you where the mark came from. I mean, if you're insinuating that I forged the signature, I mean, I certainly would not just put a line like that. That's not even believable.
Here's for another signature for a ketamine waste. Notice the difference in the line?
This is the 195, which I don't understand how. I didn't even know that we had a unit IN 195, so that's. I don't know where that came from, because that doesn't, again, it's not a signature.
Here's a screenshot that was taken when you were working on your report. It's got the header and the squiggly line.
Yeah, I don't know the squiggly. I have no answer to the squiggly line, because I agree myself that that's not a signature. That's just why. It's not even an attempt at trying to show that there's a signature.
So, to the best of your recollection, where do we come up with the name Heather? That's the other part that I need to try to figure out.
Heather was the person that the next day that I thought was who would witness me, or not witness me, but who was back there in the secured unit when I turned her over, or turned him over to the hospital. I remember looking at the person that was back behind the glass and seeing the name tag. There was no RN or whatever, and I remember thinking, "What is that? A nurse or physician? Who is that?" And I thought I thought it said Heather on there, but there was no. I mean, there was no signature with it.
Get caught up. The one signed on
That is correct.
by Carrie. Okay. Yes. So she signed the wasted NARC form, what, 5 days after the fact?
Correct.
did she actually witness the waste?
No, because that would have happened the night of the night that we, or of the call.
So, again, why do we have a wasted NARC form by someone that didn't actually witness the waste? That's where we're trying to get with this.
Sure.
Is
Okay.
we've got someone named Heather who
Right.
doesn't exist. I will just tell you she doesn't exist.
Okay.
And we have Carrie, who signed it 5 days after the fact, and probably didn't witness the waste. So
No, she I mean, she was there during, I mean, it was day shift, so I suspect she wasn't there at 1 in the morning in the psych unit. And I'm not, I had that form signed because at this time, the information that we needed either was not saved or somehow was not, and did not get included in the report by the time that we unparked it, recreated it, whatever, through the issue of figuring out which run number it needed to be under. I don't know how multiple ones got created. I can tell you that one of them was because I thought I could merge the two. I had the option to share it with the correct IN number, and it just ended up adding an additional report. So it got extremely muddy. As far as that goes, I know we needed to have something done because at this point in time we have a narcotic that were wasted with no signature. So yes, I did get that signed. That's not something that is uncommon from my experience here. When I was a supervisor, we would send people to the hospital to get signatures because it was all about getting the signatures. So yeah, when I took the laptop there to get signatures, I got signatures on that too, so we could get the proper documentation that we needed to have on file that items were wasted. Which, again, if that was an issue with research, I would suspect that they would have denied signing my form. So, I mean, it was not an attempt to create documentation that just to have it. I guess it was to get documentation that should have been taken care of the night of.
you caught up? Okay. So again, going then back again. So we've got a no waste signature. We've got a different signature with Heather, and we've got yet a third signature supposedly that witnessed it from Carrie. None of which actually saw you waste the drug. So that's what I'm trying to get at is who actually saw you from a sealed pack take a drug out and actually dispose of it.
I suppose when I took it out of the pack, I don't know who saw me, but the people that saw me when I said would have been when I walked into the nurse's station when I came back in and said, hey, is there a sharps container somewhere that I can pitch this? I didn't have a form to have any of those people sign, and I also at that point assumed that the signatures that I got from when I originally turned the patient over and said, hey, I need a signature on this for him. I have a wasted NARC signature I need to get to because I told the ketamine that he didn't end up getting it. Instead, I probably should have just done an incident report and said, hey, this is what I saw in the NARC pack and turned it to the supervisor. You're absolutely correct. But as far as who actually saw me waste it, I don't know if it was done in front of several nurses. I don't have a person because I didn't get any information since I assumed it was already in there from when I initially made contact with the receiving nurse.
So, as part of this investigation, we looked back at the number of shifts you've worked since ketamine was placed into service. And of the 5 shifts you've worked, you've given ketamine on 4 different shifts.
Sure.
In 2 instances, and I've got them here. In 2 instances, your waste forms indicate that, like on this one, you gave 40, 960.
And this was what I emailed Mike about. This was.
And this one is, you gave 160. 885.
So there was one where I gave. I would have to look at the reports to remember which is which, or even the 115. I believe that would have been for combative, or there was. I don't know which one it applies to, but there was an instance where I gave one. I gave some intranasally to a combative patient, and then got an IV, and then obviously went to give an IV, and I grabbed. I think it was because I gave it intranasally, and I believe I threw it in the sharps container or something, just out of habit of throwing the stuff away. And then I gave more. I needed to give more in transfer, so I tossed the other one. And there was a second instance where I went to give ketamine and fentanyl, and I grabbed the ketamine and gave that. I grabbed the wrong vial. I don't know which was which, but I remember I popped one thinking it was fentanyl and it was ketamine. And I mean that's why I ended up wasting 1,000, which would have been 2 of the 500 vials. So I mean I don't know which one it applies to, but that would be the. I mean that's what happened, and I would assume these instances, because those are the only 2 that I can think of where I ended up popping one and not needing a vial, because one I pitched the original one, and the other one was because I grabbed it by accident.
So, obviously, you're aware that you had to come in and do your drug screen.
Yeah.
Came back negative.
Well, that's good.
Right. However, none of your samples were within a normal temperature range, which is a problem.
And I'm sure Tyler can tell you this, that when she initially said that, it seemed very accusational. I handed her the urine and she said, well, this is not a temperature range. So immediately what does that say to me? Well, she's assuming that that's not my urine, or it's adulterated or something.
Right.
So that's when I believe I told Tyler, I said, well, if this is the road that we're going to go down, and she's assuming that now now I'm already trying to, pass urine that's not mine, that's when I said, I'll go to center point and have my blood drawn, or what are my other options? Because clearly she's already made the assumption, or she's already under the impression that this urine is not, what it's supposed to be.
So what's your take on why it wasn't within range?
I have no idea. I don't have any clue why it wouldn't be in range. I do know that Tyler, she gave me the option to have him come in and watch me, so Tyler came in. So if I had if I had some sort of way of putting some liquid in there that was not mine, I don't know where that would have come from. So I was a little irritated. I was actually very frustrated. Nobody wants to be accused of something that they didn't do or that they believe is false. So That's why I just said I'd rather just go to Centerpoint and do a blood draw or something and just be done with this, because this is just turning into something that it isn't.
I'm sorry, I need a little clarification. Did I hear you say that when you gave the second sample, Tyler witnessed it?
He came in the bathroom with me, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you right.
And she said the same thing. Well, this one, I don't know if it wasn't in range or if it just wasn't registering on the thermal paper or whatever that strip is, but if you're insinuating that again, there's still a question of whether it was my urine. A prescription that I take did show up in it that I had to prove to the drug screening facility. So, it clearly was mine because there was a medication that showed up. So, I can't answer it as to why the thermal or the temperature was not registering on those cups. That I can't answer. But it either is mine or it isn't, and it can't be not mine yet my medication show up on it.
You done? All right. I'm just gonna come out and say it, Tony.
One of which I am a police officer.
Right, but I'm looking at a situation where through the course of a 2-week period, there were 5 or 6 different documents created by you.
It looks terrible. I agree.
With names and actual signatures, not documents, but actual signatures that were obtained either on paper or electronically well after the fact by people who, according to the nurse manager research, don't even exist. That looks horrible.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
It's incriminating.
It does. It absolutely looks terrible.
And when you couple that with the fact that of only